Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean, stacking the money green. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use a promo code JUICE. $10 bet turns into $200 in free bets if either team scores a touchdown that's good for college, and pro football restrictions apply. All right, not a great day. I've been cold. I've been chilly. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/bettingpros, I'm actually wearing a beanie. One, because I am doing this show in my sister's guest house, which the heat may or may not work. So a little physically chilly. And, chilly with the picks, as we see here, 1, 2, and 1. Don't like that. But thankfully, we have a little thing called the National Football League. Gonna get it all back. Well, not really, but gonna make a nice return on Sunday, closing out the week strong. All right, 1, 2, and 1. Let's get to it. On the recap, Ohio State got destroyed at home. I mean, Ryan Day just did not have this team ready. Just got their butts kicked. This was just a brutal. That second half at home, first time they've lost to Michigan at home since 2000. So crazy one there. Washington State, they were hanging around. Michael Penix, I underestimated that offensive line. And also Penix, he balled out. Cam Ward is also super fun to watch for Washington State. So they felt like they were in the game the entire time, got some turnovers, thought that was going to be enough to put them over the edge. But ultimately, it was just Penix, just too good. That offensive line, just kind of unstoppable. We got a push in here. Auburn lost by exactly 22 points. Hopefully, if you bet this entailed with Auburn, you took it late, because I think there were some 22.5s, maybe even 23. So maybe you got on the right side of the hook if you had Auburn. Last but not least, Oregon State. They were down 31-10. Most people would pack it in, call it a day. Not the Oregon State Beavers. They end up winning 38-34 outright. Crazy game, crazy comeback, super physical game. They just decided, hey, we're not going to throw the ball anymore. We're going to run it down Oregon's throats, and that's all it took to get the dub. Okay, so let's get to the NFL picks. Before we get to the NFL picks, let's get to the NFL jersey giveaway. YouTube.com/bettingpros. Hit subscribe, comment on the video, and you're automatically entered to win an autographed jersey courtesy of Kenneth Walker, a.k.a. K9. And that's courtesy of Pristine Auction. All right. Why don't we start there with the Seattle Seahawks at home against the Raiders? They're laying 3.5 over on BetMGM. All these plays will be 2 units because it's the NFL. I love fading the Raiders off a win. You saw Davante Adams waving to the crowd. Why don't you wave to your season goodbye, Davante Adams? Come on. I get it. You won the game, but 1, you're playing the Broncos. 2, you guys are still 3-7. 2 of your wins came against the Broncos. Bye-bye. You're the guy who committed a big portion of your future to Derek Carr, so I don't know if you really should be rubbing salt in any wounds. I like the fact that the Seahawks are coming off a bye. I think there's a huge coaching disparity here. I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good coach. I don't know if I'm breaking any news there. Pete Carroll has shown he's a good coach this season with the Seahawks, and I still think the Seahawks were real. I think that game in Germany, bit of a hiccup there. Bucks, the experience got to them, but I still think they're a pretty solid football team. And you see that in their net yards per play. If you're a big yards per play guy, that's always a good metric to track. Seahawks have a plus a half net yards per play, which is a pretty good amount, comparing your offensive and defensive net yards per play. And then Raiders -3. Seattle also has been really good at home, ATS 3-1. And, Davante Adams even said it before the Broncos game. He said not everyone on this Raiders team is buying in. I don't know if that overtime win against a bad Broncos team it gets everyone to buy in. I'm not buying in. All right, next up, give me the Ravens laying 3.5 at the Jags for 2 units. Ravens defense with Roquan Smith, I think, has looked really good. That was kind of a sleepy game for the Ravens against the Panthers. They were laying, 13, only won by 10. I think Lamar Jackson should have a big game against this Jaguars team. I think Mark Andrews finally getting healthy. I think he could have a really good game against them. And I'm still out on the Jags. This feels like a sneaky, like good buy low time to hop on the Ravens. They had a bunch of opportunities in that Panthers game on the opponent on the Panthers side of the ball. They just couldn't put it in. I think they're going to be able to do that against this Jaguars team. Baltimore 4-1 ATS on the road, and the Jags, they're just not good. I still just don't see a lot of promise in this Jags team. 5-11 ATS at home last 16 games. Now I know some of those are Urban Meyer's, but Doug P. Yeah, that they beat the Raiders, but other than that, it's not looking great. And Baltimore's rushing offense, I think, good matchup against the Jags rushing defense, which has had issues. So I think that's going to be the key to the game. So give me the Ravens -3.5. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers laying 2.5 at the Cardinals, 2 units. Bet MGM. Now, normally I'm hey, whatever you're doing, don't bet a non-conference road favorite. But I think you got to make an exception here for this Cardinals team. Like, what do we think? The Cardinals? Are you kidding me? I just don't see it. They're coming off a short week, coming from Mexico City. That's got to be a tough turnaround. Arizona is just horrible at home, ATS. I know they're getting Kyler Murray back, but are they a better team with Kyler Murray? Like, Kyler Murray succeeds when he does that schoolyard stuff where he's like running around and, no plays drawn up, which is always, they always say schoolyard football and they assume no plays were drawn up. Like, what kind of football were you playing in your schoolyard where you didn't have plays drawn up? I had multiple plays. I was, running out and ups, flea flickers, the whole thing. So where'd you play that you didn't have plays drawn up? Chargers, great on the road. I mean, Chargers great on the road. Cardinals horrible at home. This is just a great matchup. And this feels like a Justin Herbert goes off game where we've seen Justin Herbert. Am I going to be the first one to say it? Justin Herbert maybe slightly overhyped here. I mean, he makes some throws where you're like, man, that's incredible. But then he makes the hard stuff look easy. He makes the easy stuff look hard sometimes, Justin Herbert. I think this is a perfect spot for him. Keenan Allen, it was his first game back. Now I think he's completely healthy or at least certainly more healthy. I mean, this Cardinals defense led up 4 passing touchdowns to Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I need to say. Justin Herbert rolls. Chargers get the win and the cover. 2.5. Bengals at Titans. I'm taking the Titans as a home dog here, +1.5, 2 units over on BetMGM. I mean, got to ride with my Titans after that Austin Hooper breakout game. And teams coming off Thursday with that extra rest, 12-7-1 ATS. Ignore that for when the Packers play the Eagles Sunday night. But I like the Titans at home in general. This is a Titans revenge spot against Cincinnati. Of course, Titans lost to Cincinnati in spite of the fact they sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. That was a crazy game. And for the Bengals, this is a really tough spot for them, right? Because they back-to-back road games. You go at Pittsburgh, at Tennessee. I don't know if the Bengals should necessarily be a road favorite here. Tannehill, I don't think was 100% in that Packers game in Lambeau. Now he gets a little bit of extra rest. He should be 100% now. I do think some Bengals rush defense might struggle with Derrick Henry, but who doesn't? And back-to-back road spots have just been tough for teams to cover in general this season. So give me the Titans here, +1.5 for 2 units. And we also have the Chargers -2.5 for 2 units. Seattle -3.5. You guessed it, 2 units. And the Baltimore Ravens laying 3.5 at the Jags for 2 units as well. All right, that'll do it for the show. BetMGM, promo code JUICE. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. I will be also putting in some first touchdown bets for my Philadelphia Eagles in the Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. And in the Daily Juice channel. And check out my other podcast, Sports Gambling Podcast. Hey, you guys know what to do. It's very simple. All you got to do, subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.